Hello, I'm Craig Smith, Third Vice President of the Thistle Class Association. Giving you updates on Thistle Midwinters East, and today is Monday's update. Monday turned out to be a great day, although it didn't start off very well. The racing was postponed due to some thunderstorms and some potentially bad weather, and so the postponement was about an hour and a half. The postponement flag came down around 11 o'clock Monday morning, and the racing started at noon or shortly thereafter. We had two fantastic races. First one was in fairly light conditions, somewhere between 5 to 10 knots, and the second race was probably around 10 knots, maybe a little bit more than that as far as racing goes. The results were that Greg Fisher ended up in first place for the day, with a first place and a second place. Second place is Paul Abdullah, and third place currently in the standings at the end of Monday is Scott Griffin. Okay, and here we have Greg Fisher, who at the end of the first day is in first place with a first place and a second place in the two races that we have. And Greg, tell us about the day.
Well, it was a beautiful day of sailing first. It was blowing about, I'd say 5 to 8 most of the day. It was sunny. Wish you all were here. It's a great week this week so far. But I think it's kind of a tough day of sailing yesterday because it was light at times. It was kind of shifty, and it was flat water, so boat speed became very, very important. And we were very fortunate, and I truly mean that, the first race, because we came off the starting line with not a great start. We were forced to tack, and somebody tacked on us again, and we reached below them out to the right side just to clear air, basically, to get away. And once we started going that direction, we saw the boats that were a little bit farther out to the right were making gains. There's a little more breeze out there, and we kind of kept on going. So as the breeze phased to the right, which was one of those lucky things, we were fortunate enough to get in a good spot. And I think we ran out the first mark, second or third, I forget, but we were fortunate then downwind to have good speed, and we got into the lead. And it was one of those kind of races where the breeze kept filling, and when you're in the lead, you could kind of sail your own race, and we were fortunate to keep on going. Behind us, there was a lot going on, and Paul Abdullah did a great job of kind of grinding back through the gang, and he was second, sailed a really nice race. Bill.
Who was second?
Paul Abdullah.
Paul Abdullah, okay.
Yeah, Paul was, and then, but Robbie Brown had a great race. Let's see, Eric Bertet had a good race. A lot of guys did a lot of grinding back, which was important in that kind of stuff. The second race was very similar, with the breeze being light. We had another bad start, and this one was a little harder to work out of, and I think we ran the top mark maybe 12th or so, and it was tricky. Scott Griffin sailed a great weather leg, which we didn't really get to see much of, but we assume he did because he had a nice lead at the weather mark, which he held all the way around the race course and did a really good job. And it was one of those races that we just had to really hang on to and work hard, and we actually were fortunate enough to we played the middle most of the time because we really weren't sure what direction the wind was going to go, because it phased right, we thought it was going to go right, then there were shots out of the left, so we just worked the middle and tried to keep our speed up. And we just caught John Lovett at the very end to be second, but we were very fortunate there. But I'd say the moral of the story on that race was not trying to overthink the breeze, because it was phasing back and forth. As soon as we think we were getting pretty smart and we thought it was going to go to the right and continue to go right, we get a big lefty. So it was truly one of those that whenever we could get back to the middle, we did. We tried to keep our lanes open. We tried to keep the boat speed up. And I think when we're in that position, you know, like the 15 type 20 area, you really need to be careful about how you run the weather mark. And we were very fortunate a couple times where we were able to come in, not on the port tack lay line, but just down below the port tack lay line, so that we had a clear lane going in. You know, and it wasn't like dangerous like we were trying to find a hole, but when you're on the starboard tack lay line, there's nowhere to go, and you're going to be fighting for breeze the whole time. Whereas if you come in on port, you know, maybe 5 or 6 boat lengths below the weather mark, you can take advantage of any shift. You have a clear lane, and you can usually find a hole to tack into. So we were really lucky there. And the reason I say is we had a couple weathermark roundings where we picked up a number of boats.
Now, was there current? Was there a current affect? What did you read of the current yesterday?
There was current for sure, like there usually is at St. Pete, but I think it wasn't as big an effect as it was as we've seen this past few days with it rolling. I mean, I think we were conscious of it as we would approach a weathermark just so we wouldn't be swept down into it. But I don't think it was, at least for us, it wasn't a strategic consideration, you know, which is nice. It just was moving the water all the way across the race course, and we just kind of flowed with it.
So it was a matter of really just playing the shifts is really what made the difference.
I think it's playing the shifts, keeping your lane clean, and continuing to move.
And producing a 4-minute lead. Minutes.
When the racing was postponed on Monday morning, they had another Coach TCA session. And you did a Coach TCA session yesterday?
Yeah, it was fun.
And what was it? What was the presentation on?
Yesterday it was the first weather leg, and we talked about I guess you'd say more boat-to-boat type tactical stuff, which I think is important in that if you're comfortable with how you handle the tactical considerations when you meet other boats, then the strategic stuff can kind of come into play much easier. So we spent a lot of time on that, and I think yesterday was a day where that was very important.
Big. And then, of course, the final activity for Monday night was the much anticipated and very much enjoyed Cha-Cha Coconuts night. Okay, now we're visiting with Kathy Finnefrock. Hi Kathy, how you doing?
Doing well, Craig. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Tell me about tonight.
Tonight, out of 69 participants, we had 6 not show up, but we have their names on the list. Tom Hubble's going to have a talk with them tomorrow, and they better be there on Tuesday.
Way to go, Kathy.
Thanks, Craig.
That's what I understand.